morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. That was great. Let's do that again. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. What a beautiful day. Beautiful. I'm Carissa April. I'm chair of the Falmouth Veterans Council, and I'll be your master of ceremonies for today's Veterans Day ceremony. For those of you carrying cell phones, I ask that you turn them off or silence them for the duration of the ceremony, and thank you. On behalf of the town of Falmouth, welcome. Thank you for joining us for today's special ceremony and spending your morning with us here on beautiful Memorial Lane. Unlike Memorial Day, which remembers and honors those who gave the ultimate sacrifice in service to their country, Veterans Day celebrates all men and women who have served in the United States Armed Forces. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise or remain standing, remove your hats, cover your hearts, and direct your attention to the American flag behind me as the Falmouth School Repertory Singers perform the national anthem. Thank you. Now, Scout USA Troop 236, Falmouth's newest troop, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. For those with seats, please be seated. And there may be some open seats up here. If you're looking for a seat, I see some open seats. So please make your way in and find a seat if you like, both sides of the walkway. It's my pleasure to welcome those invited dignitaries, some of which are with us today, many of which are here today. Senator Dylan Fernandez, Congressman Bill Keating, State Representatives David Vieira and Thomas Moakley, Town Manager Michael Renshaw, and Assistant Town Manager Peter Johnson-Staub. From the Select Board, Chair Nancy Robbins-Taylor, Vice Chair Scott Zielinski, members Doug Brown, Bob Miscali, and Heather Goldstone. Chief of Police Jeff Lowery, Fire Chief Timothy Smith. The Department of Veterans Services Director Jim Gouzias and Julie Cadigan. Falmouth Veterans Council, Carissa April, David Branga, John Dillon, Brian Hodor, Ahmed Mustafa, Ron Nassif, Paula Smith, and Elizabeth Sweeney, and former Veteran Service Officer Ted Gibbs. I'd like to also take a moment to thank our Coast Guard, Police, Falmouth Fire, and the Falmouth Scouting Honor and Color Guards, always here and looking terrific today. Reverend Nell Fields from Waquoit Congregational Church will now deliver the invocation.
If you feel comfortable, please be with me in the spirit of prayer. God of many names, you saw this day coming when we would gather to honor and remember. The day we would give thanks for the women and men who have served our country in times of conflict and peace. We thank you, O God, for this great gathering of community. We thank you for our veterans, those with us today and those of generations past. We are grateful for their sacrifice. We are grateful that they answered the call to serve. May we never forget their service. May we uphold the values of freedom and dignity and justice, not only in our words, but through our conduct and our kindness toward one another. May we lead by example so we may, as the prophet Isaiah says, become a light to the nations. Then will the labors and sacrifices of these veterans be honored, not in words alone, but by our deeds as well. Bless this ceremony and all who are part of it, whether actors or observers. May we all be inspired to carry forward the light of peace. We ask this in the name of all that is holy. Amen.
On this day, 102 years ago, an unknown American serviceman's remains from France were interred in what is now known as the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Arlington Cemetery. During the ceremony, officiated by President Harding, the World War I unknown was awarded the Victoria Cross by the Admiral of the Fleet, Lord Beatty, on behalf of King George V of the United Kingdom, the Legion of Honor, Médaille Militaire, and Croix de Guerre from France, the War Cross from Czechoslovakia, the Gold Medal for Bravery from Italy, Virtuti Militari from Poland, and the Virtute Militara from Romania. The World War I unknown is now joined with an unknown from World War II and an unknown from Korea. In 1998, the Vietnam unknown was identified as Air Force First Lieutenant Michael Joseph Blassie, and his remains were returned to his family. The unknowns have bestowed with the highest military honors from the United States and our allies, and on the tomb is inscribed, "Here rests in honored glory an American soldier known but to God." Known around the world as Armistice Day and Remembrance Day, the 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour, signifies the end of hostilities on the Western Front of World War I in 1918, the war to end all wars. Please join me in a moment of silence for the 4.7 million Americans that fought in the Great War and the 116,708 that never came home. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce the newly appointed Director of Veteran Services for the town of Falmouth, Jim Gouzias. Jim retired as a staff sergeant after a 26-year military career. He served in the Massachusetts Army National Guard, 6 years as a traditional infantry service member, and 20 years serving on active duty in the Massachusetts National Guard in the field of logistics. Jim made multiple peacetime deployments, including NATO's Cold War return of forces to Germany in 1985, involving the deployment of thousands of U.S. and NATO troops to West Germany for war game exercises, and the U.S.-Mexican border project in 2005, 2006, and 2007. During wartime, he deployed in 2003 to the Persian Gulf region, Kuwait, and Iraq in support of Iraqi freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. In addition to this first-hand experience, Jim is a licensed social worker and most recently worked for Mass Hire, helping fellow veterans find meaningful employment. Jim will make some brief remarks and then introduce today's keynote speaker. Jim?
Thank you, Carissa. I want to start by thanking Falmouth Select Board Veterans Council, Town Manager, Assistant Town Manager, and their incredible staff for the heartfelt welcome I received upon being hired as Director of Veteran Services. In the short time of being on the job, I have found the town of Falmouth to be a veteran town. Local chapter veteran organizations like the DAV, VFW, AMVES, Falmouth Community Veteran Center, Cape and Islands Outreach Center, as well as non-veteran-centric organizations such as the Elks, the Rotary Club of Falmouth, and the Falmouth Marine Lodge Freemasons are dedicated veteran supporters who provide services and resources to enrich your lives and honor your service. These organizations are a direct reflection of the citizens of Falmouth who embody the spirit of community service and embrace our veteran population. I'm proud and happy to have the opportunity to serve you, the veterans of Falmouth. I will strive to earn your trust and respect as your new veteran service officer. I entered this position with the goal of propagating veteran program awareness, cultivating interagency and external organizational relationships, and of creating effective provisions of services. In the 7 short weeks since taking over as Director of Veteran Services, community outreach has been prioritized in veteran program awareness campaigns are being cultivated to provide information pipelines as well as assistance and guidance in navigating the complex network of veteran services within the federal, state, municipal, and private nonprofit sectors. Moving forward, the department will continue working closely with our community partners. These organizations provide invaluable services to you, our Falmouth veterans. These services include food and financial assistance, senior outreach, as well as access to the town's very own Falmouth Community Veteran Center, where veterans can attend informational events, workshops, just have a cup of coffee and socialize with one another. Falmouth truly is a veterans town. I will close with this. To my fellow veterans, it is this department's mission to ensure you have access to the services and benefits you have earned and deserve. It is a privilege and honor to serve you, the veterans of Falmouth. You will always be afforded the dignity and respect your sacrifice for service demands. Thank you. I now have the privilege of introducing our keynote speaker, Major General Virginia Gaglio. Major General Virginia Gaglio is the Air National Guard Assistant to the Commander, Air Force Materiel Command, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio. General Gaglio plays a critical role in assisting the commander and staff on issues impacting the Air National Guard related to warfighter support. This is achieved through leading-edge science and technology, cradle-to-grave life cycle weapon systems management, world-class developmental test and evaluation, and world-class depot maintenance and supply chain management. General Gaglio received her commission through the Academy of Military Science program at the E. Tyson Air National Guard Technical Education Center in 1992, where she was a distinguished graduate. She was promoted to Brigadier General in 2020, and within 3 short years, she attained the rank of Major General in 2023. She has served in Operation Northern Watch, Noble Eagle, Iraqi Freedom, and Enduring Freedom. Prior to her current assignment, she was the Chief of Staff and Commander of the Massachusetts Air National Guard and was dual-hatted as the Vice Director of Manpower Personnel J1 National Guard Bureau. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Falmouth's own Major General Virginia Gaglio.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So
special welcome to our distinguished visitors, elected officials, our scouts out there, our Falmouth residents, and most importantly, our veterans that are here today. It was on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the Allies in Germany put an end to World War I. That conflict prompted leaders to designate November 11th as the day to honor veterans of World War I in 1919, and 35 years later, it became the day to honor all veterans. This is the day we honor all who have sworn an oath to protect and defend our freedoms. These freedoms were paid for by the sacrifices by our veterans. From Valley Forge to Kandahar, service members have stood watch over our liberties, often at great personal cost. They have left the comfort of their homes to face unknown dangers. They have missed birthdays, holidays, and precious moments with loved ones. Others have paid the price with their health, bearing physical and emotional scars that may never fully heal. And some, far too many, have paid the ultimate price, laying down their lives so that we might live in freedom. Their memory lives on in the freedoms we enjoy. And we honor their legacy by supporting the veterans who are still with us. I also want to acknowledge all families of veterans. Those wives, husbands, daughters, sons, parents, and other family members. They serve as well when their loved ones take the oath. Their strength and sacrifice was as important in ensuring our veterans had a home to return to and provided incredible comfort during difficult times. During and after deployment, and have shown incredible resilience in the faces of uncertainty. Today, we honor them as well. For our veterans that are here today at this beautiful Falmouth ceremony, I encourage you today to share your story of service with a neighbor, loved one, or friend. Storytelling can influence how people understand the world. It can inspire people and build connection. It can often bridge cultural, generational, and social gaps and create a sense of community. We all know that we are more likely to be persuaded by stories than facts alone. Stories can motivate people to take action in meaningful and long-lasting ways. And finally, we know it can inspire empathy and challenge preconceived notions. Storytelling is a powerful and positive action. Each of us who have served has a personal story of our service. Each generation of America has served in some conflict. Our veterans today are from World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Iraq, Afghanistan, and locations around our globe where there is conflict. Some veterans were drafted to serve in Vietnam during a difficult time in our country, where they returned to a nation who didn't understand or may not have supported them. Many of our veterans today have been from an all-volunteer force, 50 years as of 2023, but have served multiple tours in the Middle East for the past 20 years. And a few of our amazing veterans still survive from World War II and Korea. Each of our stories are precious and important to pass on to the next generation so that we can honor your sacrifice, learn from difficult lessons and hopefully not repeat them, and have a richer understanding of how to support veterans after they return. Your story can inspire another generation to serve their country. In the United States, we have about 18 million veterans who have served, about 7% of the adult population. Currently, only 1% of our nation serves in the military. Of that 1%, well over half are more likely to have been exposed to military life through friends or family. By sharing your story as a veteran, you have a huge impact on the next generation. My story of service started 38 years ago. I had two distant uncles who had served in the Navy and Air Force, but I didn't know much about their time in World War II and Vietnam. I was inspired by airmen having their one day of liberty during basic training while walking the San Antonio River Walk. As a young girl of 12, I had never seen a woman in uniform, and the idea of service was planted inside of me. A few years later, I was reminded of that idea when I sat in traffic for my commute listening to radio ads about the Air Force and becoming an airman. I didn't know I had an inclination towards mechanical and electrical skills until I took a test for entry. A few months later, I found myself on fighter aircraft repairing radar, electronic warfare, and navigational aids. It was not the world I had grown up in, attending my school, being a scout, taking dance lessons, and living in Houston. But I did love it. 38 plus years later, I've had 4 distinct careers in the aircraft, in the Air Force, in aircraft maintenance, intelligence, personnel, and have spent the last 25 years commanding teams of airmen, small to large, and shaping Air Force and DoD policy. It is not the life I imagined while growing up, but I can't imagine any other life that would have been better. Our veterans shape the country we live in today. We have defended our country's freedoms, protected our values, and show others the true meaning of sacrifice. For over 4 centuries, soldiers, sailors, Marine, Coast Guard, airmen, and guardians have preserved and safeguarded our liberties. What binds us all together across the years and across the conflicts is a shared commitment to service and honoring our country. In closing, thank you again for granting me the honor of speaking today. May God bless our nation's veterans. May God bless this great Commonwealth. And now and forever, may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, General Gaglio. I now invite all our veterans in the audience to form up at the World War I Memorial to pass in review. The pass in review is a long-standing military tradition that began as a way for a newly assigned commander to inspect their troops as the soldiers, sailors, or airmen marched past. Today, these veterans aren't marching for our inspection, but rather to allow us to publicly acknowledge and thank them for their service to our nation. Will the audience please rise and join me in saying thank you while the Falmouth High School Band performs America the Beautiful. That's an oversight in the script. The band isn't here. My apologies. Shall we sing it? Somebody start it up. Oh.
Stand beside her. Doesn't mean lines I know. And guys. Yeah.
seated. I don't know how many towns around the country do this on Veterans Day, but this feels so much more than like 1%. And it is just such an honor to be here with my brothers and sisters who wore the uniform and still wear the uniform today. This is just amazing every time. The Brian Baru Band will now perform Minstrel Boy. The benediction and retiring of the colors. Refreshments, and light fare will be served at the Falmouth Elks Lodge, located at 140 Palmer Ave. Thank you to the Elks for hosting and the Falmouth VFW for sponsoring the luncheon this year. The Falmouth Community Veterans Center invites you to stop by this afternoon during their open house in Dillingham Avenue. Meet the new center director and maybe play a game and have a snack, 12 to 4. Also, the Friends of Knobs Delight are offering free sunset tours of the lighthouse for veterans today, a little later in the afternoon. Every Veterans Day and Memorial Day, the Falmouth Fire and Rescue Department do an outstanding job staging the enormous flag over Catherine Lee Bates. Thank you, and thank you for your honor guard. I'd also like to thank the Falmouth Police Department for making the roads safe for the ceremony and for their honor guard. Thank you to Jeremiah Pearson and the crews at the Falmouth Parks Department and Department of Public Works for doing such a great job maintaining our beautiful town, and in particular Memorial Lane. And when I walked up this morning, I don't think you could have planned it, and I'm sure you didn't want to plan the leaves that blew in, but they looked like yellow brass buttons on a uniform to me, with the red, white, and blue and the sun-dappled yellow spots everywhere. It was beautiful. So well done with the ginkgo leaves. Beautiful. I'd also like to acknowledge all our scouts and thank you for marching and your participation today and every year, and for everything you do around town and our community, and to your parents who support you in that. Eagle Scout mom, I have to make sure I emphasize your parents. And finally, thank you to everyone for your support, for being here today, rain or shine, in heat or frigid temperatures. We've done it all. I'm always impressed and humbled by the showing of support you provide. Thank you. For those with seats, please rise for the benediction and the retiring of colors.
My friends, receive this blessing. May you carry the remembrance of this day in gratitude. May the service of others inspire you to sow seeds of kindness and mercy in all that you say and do. May God bless you and keep you. God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God give you peace, and may God bless these United States of America. Go in love. Amen.
Color guard, retire the colors. concludes today's ceremony. Thank you again for joining us for Falmouth's 2024 Observance and Celebration of Veterans.